Okay, so for the assignment, you're looking at values and how they play into decision making for businesses, for governments, and generally. So let's have a quick chat about what exactly values are. So values are the things that are inherently within us that tell us whether things are good or bad, things that make us happy or sad. So you can see here this is a word cloud of a range of things. You can see what apply quite prominently here is morals. So what do we think is morally correct? The ethics, is this an ethical thing to do? And these words themselves are things like, is this a good, bad, or good thing to be doing or a bad thing to be doing? And so when we think of a vegetarian, they have the values that eating meat is not good. Now, they have a range of reasons of why they think that, but their value is that eating meat is not a good thing to be doing. So a vegetarian's morals or ethics is that eating meat is bad. So different people have got different values based on their belief systems. So this is why we've got philosophy here, because that's your philosophical perspective on life. Faith is up here as well, because different religions will have different value systems. So for example, some religions is that you can't lend money and charge interest, and then there are other religious values that means that you can lend money and charge interest. And so there's that idea that there's a whole system of values based in a particular religious belief system. And then we've got things like acceptance in here in this word cloud. So when we accept that different people have got different values to us, I personally don't value cars very highly in my life. So I drive a 15-year-old car. She's a little beat up, but I love her. And I expect that people accept that. But I've got friends of mine who critique me on driving an old car. Why do you drive such an old car? You could afford to buy a new car. I'm asking them to accept that. And I'm asking them to respect that as well. Respect that that's actually my decision-making process. So the values are the way that I perceive the world. They're the way that you perceive the world. It's the way we make decisions about what is good and what is bad. For example, sometimes when people murder people, their value system tells them that that's actually okay to murder that person because that person did something bad to them, or that person deserves to die, all that sort of thing. So there is this sort of values that we all carry. But how do we apply this to politics? So this meme here, there's a concept around here about how Western culture is the dominant culture around society, and that's a bad thing, that we should be respectful of different diversity, of different cultures. And then, of course, the punchline here is related to the coronavirus, because one of the beliefs is that, or one of the understandings is that coronavirus came from a wet market, and so that's why that meme exists. So that's a political meme because it's about putting a value system of Western culture onto the Chinese culture, where eating bats is a part of their value system. It's a belief system that they think that eating bats is okay. And that's what they've done for decades, if not centuries. So their values means that they just see meat as meat, and a bat is meat, so you can eat it. And so that's a value system that they have. Whereas in Western society, we have a different value system where we don't eat bats. We eat cows and sheep and things like that. So this is how this works. So that means that in politics, when politicians go in to have discussions about why one thing is good and one thing is bad, then it means that they're actually operating on different value systems and different belief systems. And then this is why sometimes, we are imposing a Western culture and the values of that Western culture onto other cultures. And sometimes that's a good thing, and sometimes that's a bad thing. So we need to be conscious of how this applies in politics. All right, but how does this apply to your assignment, and why do you care? All right, well, values apply to your assignment because you're dealing with an issue, and there will be different value systems. So for example, if my value system is that money is good and nature is bad, then I don't care if your issue relates to damaging the environment. Damage the environment, money is what's important, okay? So you can see how values influence how decisions are going to be made in relation to your issue. So the solution that you come up with, how are you going to solve your problem, is all of these elements, but it's also about the values that you have when you're looking at that problem and what the other values are in that environment or the other values in your group. So in class, we're going to be looking at your value system and how that aligns with or contradicts the people in your group and how that means that you're going to work towards having different values in relation to your decision making.